Good evening, my friends. I hope you're all doing wonderful. If you're looking for something to perhaps get wound down, ready for bed, or you want to get some work done and stay focused, and you just want some background sound, or you're doing absolutely nothing right now and you just want to feel relaxed, you're in the right place. Tonight, I'm going to be reading you guys some more Reddit stories. We're going to be playing Minecraft once again tonight, and while I'm reading these stories, you can enjoy, sit back and relax. I'm going to be doing some terraforming around my house. I do not like how many blocks I have to jump over, so we're going to staircase a lot of this. Not all of it, but you guys get what I'm saying. So, tonight's topic is going to be crazy drivers. Now, I have a lot of stories when it comes to driving myself, and if you guys would like to have a separate video on that, where I give you guys, I have probably about an hour's worth of stories to tell. If we hit 150 likes on tonight's video, I will give you guys a video while I'm playing Minecraft, and I will tell you a lot of my personal stories. Some of you may not believe them, and that's okay. But I've got some crazy incidents that you guys might be interested in. Enough chit chat like this. Let's get straight into the video. Our first story from the night comes from a subreddit, and it's a comment. This one starts off with saying, "Not me, but my brother's story. Driving home from out of town with his wife and 3 kids in the back, going 100 down the highway, both him and his wife see a man on the side of the road. He wasn't trying to hitchhike and wasn't really paying attention to the other cars. They only saw him for a second, but he kind of looked like he was stumbling. They're at least 5 kilometers, okay, so we're in European style now. It's about 2.5 miles from the last town, so they figured he's in trouble. They want to turn around and see if he's okay, but on the highway, you can't just do that anywhere. By the time they find a turnoff and make it back to the spot, it's at least 15 minutes later. They don't see anything, so they call the police and explain the situation. My brother and the officer happen to look around for a bit, but there's not much you can do. This is the middle of the prairies. There's a lot of open land, and they're not 100% sure exactly where they saw the guy. The officer says he'll call up some more guys and look around a bit more, but for my brother to go home and get his kids to bed. The next morning, he got a call from the officer. They found a guy in a diabetic coma and were able to get him to a hospital. He had some beers at the town they passed and just wandered off. My brother definitely saved his life. You know what? Good for this guy's brother. I'm glad that he was able to go back and eventually the police were able to finally find him. That's kind of a scary situation, especially when you get somebody that's a diabetic involved. There's a lot of different scenarios that can go and play into that. Also, we're going to have to cut back a little bit more of this, I've decided, because it's just not flowing the way I wanted it to. I really want more than just one block behind the backside of my house, so we'll do some playing around with that. Let's get moved on to the next story, shall we? Alright guys, I've got an absolutely insane story for you now. This is not kind of a road rage, but it's not really the OP that is road raging. So it starts off saying, "Many years ago, on the 4th of July, my drunk girlfriend," and then in parentheses, later wife, now ex-wife, "agreed to let me practice driving stick on her Integra GSR in exchange for being DD for the night. It was a hilly town, and there was a ton of traffic due to the holiday. So naturally, I stalled it a couple times in a row on a particularly busy hill start, and some guy in a big-ass lifted Chevy right behind me starts lunging forward and laying on his horn. So my insane and quite drunk, might I say, girlfriend in the passenger seat decides to defend my honor by standing up through the moonroof and chucking a fucking watermelon at the guy's windshield."
I got really good at driving stick that day. Outrunning a crazy pissed off redneck who wanted to kill us probably contributed a bit. Necessity is the mother of all invention, blah blah blah. Bro, what the hell? That is absolutely insane. I've seen people get watermelons thrown at their vehicles before, and like, I've seen them crack windshields, so I feel like I can see where the Chevy driver's pain is coming from, because, you know, those windshields are not very cheap either. But that is still funny as hell. Like, how are you just gonna pull up on somebody trying to learn stick and you're just blasting on your horn, and all of a sudden someone stands up out of the moonroof and just chucks a watermelon at you? Dude was probably out there driving like it was Fast and Furious and his life depended on it. I bet Dom Toretto was secretly in the passenger seat telling him about how it's all about family. Alright, moving on. Before I start this next story, I also want to ask you guys a question. So, I've been listening to a lot of playback with this current microphone I've got, and there's a lot of background noise. So, my question to you guys is, should I get a new microphone that I can adjust my gain on? Because I've just got a cheap one off of Amazon for the time being. It's nothing special. But I want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. If I should just get a new one with adjustable gain so I can try to eliminate some of this background noise, or if you guys actually like it and want me to keep using this. I don't know. I just kind of have that feeling it just sets a relaxing vibe, kind of. Not really. It's like lo-fi. I don't really know how to explain it. But just let me know what your guys' thoughts and opinion is on it. I'm always open to your feedback. So let's move on to the next. This next story starts off by saying, so one time I was driving a 1995 GMC 1500 long bed 4x4. It's a big truck. If it's a long bed, then yes, it is a rather large truck. Handles like a tank. So I'm driving home from town out to my house in the country-ish area. There's a 2-lane 65-mile-per-hour highway that goes straight out. It has some stoplights about every few miles. Well, I had been stuck behind this guy who apparently tried to pass someone who was driving slow on the right, only to realize his car went the exact same 50 mile an hour. So now they are cruising in the only 2 lanes at 50. I come up from a long distance, obviously gaining on them at 70, and neither car is budging. So I get in the left and drift up fairly close, trying to suggest him to move. Excuse me. Finally, the car on the right sees this and brakes so I can get by. I had to go to the right lane since this guy clearly isn't moving. Passes a little shit box down the hill where my weight helps in the back and the left to pass. Another car coming on the right. Okay, that was kind of a cluster to read. As I clear this car, I see him clearly going 75 down the hill next to me. A blatant 25 over what he's doing before, now trying to pass me back on the right. The hell with being behind him again, so I accelerate to about 85 to not have to deal with him when he floors it to keep up. Now the issue. Large truck. Going fast. Remember those stoplights? Yeah. The guy is trying to cut me off on this car ahead on the left going slow. Light turns yellow and slow car in front of me tries to stop at it, whereas I'm definitely going through it at this point. So instead of hitting the innocent, probably old person in front, I do one last acceleration and just pull over on the dick trying to cut me off, who used to be doing 50. Of course, he still tried to cut me off, but realized his little car isn't going to win against this truck, and gets pushed off onto the tiny shoulder, screeching the tires. Almost loses it off the road. I blow through the still yellow light, and this guy brakes so much it turns red and he can't stop and ends up going through it with some wet pants. He then goes about 40 in my rear view until he's gone. Okay, so I like these stories where it's big truck versus little car because I kind of get it. I have a couple trucks myself. Uh, I've got a 95 Power Stroke. I've got a '01 Power Stroke, and I had a '03 half ton and an '04 Duramax for a little while before I got rid of it. But I get it. Big trucks they're hard to stop, especially nowadays. The older ones from the '90s, that just braking systems were not very good. ABS was still a fairly new thing at the time. So I can understand his trouble trying to get it to stop. You know, and it's not entirely the truck guy's fault, I feel like. And this is kind of a hot take, personally. But if you are trying to pass someone and you are going the exact same speed as them, there is absolutely no reason whatsoever for you to be trying to pass said person in the first place. You're not going to get anywhere any faster if you're going the exact same speed. If you're going to pass someone, you either just need to speed up and get it done and over with, or you just live with it, stay behind them, and go on with your day. So I feel like the truck guy had every reason to do what he did. I think the guy in the little car needs to learn how to drive personally, but that's just my hot take. Let me know what you guys think of that story. It was kind of a mouthful for me to read just because it had about 5 separate paragraphs. But yeah, that's that story. Let's move on to the next, I suppose. I know we can do one more story. I might see if we can squeeze in 2 more, but I cannot promise that for you guys tonight. This next one starts off by saying, a buddy of mine had an old Ford Taurus with no second gear. Oh, this ought to be good. I should note that my buddy at the time was 17 years old, 6'3", and 240-pound defensive end for a 5A Texas high school football team. He was leaving school and still in the school zone, so he just kept it in first until he got out of the school zone. So he was going around 15, and some upper middle class businessmen behind him got fed up and cut him off and stopped him. Walked to my buddy's window, grabbed a fistful of t-shirt, and my guess is this is when the businessman thought to himself, I fucked up. Anyway, my buddy opens the door into his face, gets outside, out-punches him in the face, and gets back in his car. When the police show up, they arrest the businessman for assaulting a minor. Oh, chat, that's insane. It's on the businessman, dude. He made the first move. That's his own damn fault, in my opinion. I definitely think we could try to find you guys one more story, because that was just a little bonus one I wanted to throw in for tonight, just because I was skimming through it and I saw 6'3", 240-pound defensive end in a road rage subreddit. I just knew it was going to be good. So let's find you guys one more for the night and get this sucker all wrapped up. I'm really happy with how this terraforming project is starting to turn out, though. My whole idea is the front side of my house. I really want to have this downhill, farm going on, I guess. You guys know how the Mayan Empire and down in Peru, all that kind of farming. I've always been intrigued by that, and I've never really had a chance to implement that into one of my builds. So I thought it would be cool if eventually, I don't think we'll go all the way down, but we might. I don't know yet. I at least want to go majority of the way down and be able to farm all of this, fill up one side with wheat, put sugarcane on the other side. I think it'll be a pretty cool idea. So for our last story tonight, this one is a little bit more spooky, I would say. It's out of a truckers subreddit talking about some drivers' spookiest driving stories. I'm going to read this one just a little bit slower than I normally would, just so I can kind of set the vibe for you guys of how I interpret this. So it starts off with, I was driving through a rural part years ago when I was on my way home to Chelmsford at approximately 10 p.m. I was speeding down this country lane, and a woman that was all gray hair, clothes, everything, just walked out from behind a large sign. That's spooky. I immediately emergency braked and went straight through the woman, so I assumed that I had hit her. I stopped the car, got out, and nothing was there at all. So I got back in the car and I booted it away. I got about half a mile up the road to a residential street and then had to stop the car as my leg was shaking so severely that I couldn't even operate the clutch properly. I haven't been there, done that because of like fear, but like I understand not being able to function with a clutch because my leg is shaking so much. I think part of that is just like my anxiety gets built up, and that's probably part of what's going on here with this guy as well. Whenever my anxiety gets flared up really bad, I just start shaking every muscle in my body, but like my legs and my calves just do it the absolute worst. And trying to drive my dump truck is an absolute nightmare whenever it comes down to that. Anyways, I'm sorry guys, I got off topic. Let's get back into this story. So he waited 15 minutes to calm down, had a cigarette, and then resulted in his journey home. The whole way, he had an entire eerie fear. Sorry, I fumbled that really bad, but I'm not going to edit it out. You guys can make fun of me for that. I had an eerie feeling that someone was watching me from my back seat. I think I spent more time looking in my rear view than I actually did my front windshield. I got home, could not stop thinking about it, so I Googled the area, in which I found out it was called, I hope I pronounce this correctly, Norsey Wood. I think I pronounced that right. I really do not know. Upon researching that area, it turns out Norsey Wood was an ancient battleground, and many people were apparently slaughtered there. That's crazy. So, like, you know, I can say I believe in ghosts. I've seen one before, and you know that's not much coming from me, but I will save that for the video where I tell you guys my stories if we hit 150 likes on this video. Like I said, I have a lot of crazy stories that some of you would not believe. You'd think they're just tall tales, like tomato tales. If you guys know what I'm talking about, then you know. Tomato kind of stretches the truth a little bit, but you know, take that for what it's worth. I've got some insane experiences. But that is the last story that I have got for you guys tonight. Thank you all for tuning in so much. Your support means so much to me, and I'm glad that I've been getting such great feedback on the past. This is the third video I've done now, and my previous two videos I've done have gotten phenomenal feedback. I couldn't be more happy with it. But anyways, that is going to do it for tonight's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and drop a comment down below telling me what you thought. We got a lot of work done tonight. We also got some good stories in. I'll see you next time.